beautiful, lovely day we're having here today. God bless you all, and thank you for taking a few minutes out of your schedule here to just briefly chat about what we're going to talk about next month. August 1st, 2021, we will be talking about closing the case. That's going to be a very, very big show. I've already looked at some of the notes that I want to take and some of the things that I want to talk about, and we're just going to get to the first couple pages. I can already tell that. There's no way we're going to get through the whole chapter. That would be a very ambitious plan. Nothing wrong with trying to, but there's just so much there. Just in a couple pages is what I've noticed. So I think this is going to be another one of those that we're going to break up into certain, into multiple shows, and like we did with some of the other shows, we had Suspicious Activity Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, etc., etc. I don't think we're going to do that this time. I think I'm just going to, from here on out, I'm going to start labeling each show just its own show, based on a certain title. So this one will be Closing the Case, and it is going to talk about, obviously, the chapter in my book, The Gray Stage, regarding David Crowley, and we'll go over what did they do to close this case. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty fascinating. You know, when the case was still open and we were kind of looking at, okay, what would they need to close this case and prove David Crowley guilty? I always thought the two would go hand in hand, and they definitely don't. Closing the case is one thing. Proving David Crowley guilty is a completely different thing. So the case is officially ruled exceptionally cleared. So that's been kind of the basis of the whole case, is it is exceptionally cleared, and somehow that automatically makes David Crowley guilty. So we know that that's not true. You probably would not be here if you really thought David Crowley was guilty, right? I'm guessing. That's what I would think. I wouldn't be here. I know that for sure. I'd be off doing something else right now. But here we are, and I do thank everybody for being here. This is going to be another powerful podcast here. I think this will be episode number 19. Could be wrong, but I believe so. So, you know, we're getting close to having done this podcast for 2 years and learned a lot, and it's great to go back into this case for multiple reasons. Future things coming up. So going back and looking at this, you know, it's starting to get a little more personal now as the book goes on. For me, it gets more personal. This is going backwards to when I was first really invested in this case. First began to be invested in this case, I should say. And all the different games and all the weird things that were happening at that time. From here it gets pretty interesting, because again, we're trying to see, okay, what they closed the case. They closed the case in October of 2015. That's good. Why? And what is the quote-unquote conclusion to closing the case? Is still pretty fascinating, still pretty baffling how people could just assume, well, if the case is closed, then David must be guilty. But when you read this chapter, just read these couple pages here. The first pages 83 and 84 in the physical book, and you'll see exactly what they do to close the case. And it's like, wow, yeah, if that happened to me, man, I'd want the investigators to dig a little deeper. If that happened to one of my family, one of my friends, I would definitely want them to dig a little bit deeper, but to also maybe either keep the case open or at least understand, not put in the final thing, well, because we didn't find that anybody else did it, then it must have been David. It's like, what? That makes absolutely no sense. What did you guys do to find David guilty? Right? That's the big question. So that's the $1 million question, the $30 million question that we've been asking for 6 years now, going on 7 years, I believe. And it's nothing, absolutely nothing. So the chapter starts off where the police meet with David's dad, David's mom, his brother, his sister, and with Sidra, with Kamel's sister too. And I'll have to go back and see if they all met at the same time or if they met with Sidra separately. I'm not 100% sure about that, but regardless, they all met them on the same day. I believe it was March 14th, maybe. Obviously, the book will let us know that, but in March of 2015. And that's the first paragraph. Second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph goes on to say, yeah, okay, but that's before they had anything. They didn't have the DNA evidence yet. The autopsy conclusions were not done yet. The phone records, right? The electronics, a lot of the stuff they did not have yet. The financial records. So when they say, you know, nothing was withheld from the family, basically, we told them everything that we knew about the case, but they didn't know that much about the case yet. It was March. It was in March of 2015. A lot of the stuff didn't come back until a few weeks later and a few months later too. So, and yeah, so I don't know. That was pretty frustrating to see that. So we're getting a little bit deeper into these chapters, and then the other part of the chapter that we will not cover in this month's episode, or in the August 2021 episode, it goes into Tom Lydon, right? Because that's kind of like the nail in the coffin, basically. That publicly they get the final word. That's the final word. Chief Wright School. That's the final word. Or is it Burmel? Whatever, one of those guys. But that's the final word on it. Well, we believe David did this. Okay. And Tom Lydon, of course, doesn't push them on anything, which is that's stupid too. Okay, well, you know, you guys believe David Crowley is guilty because of why? It's a pretty simple question. If you don't get a good answer, you got to push harder, push on them. That's your job. That's what Tom Lydon should be doing. Instead, it's more about, you know, blaming us. We're the bad guys for asking questions. People are scared to come forward because of these guys asking questions. It's so stupid. It's just really dumb. So, but you know, that's life, and that's their freedom. If they're free to believe that David Crowley is guilty, just like we're free to believe that he's not. We've done a great job, I think, at presenting the evidence, and keep presenting the evidence, and we're going to keep presenting the evidence. The people who believe David Crowley is guilty have done a horrible job at proving him guilty. And it's rightfully done, because there is nothing that proves him guilty. The stuff that they throw against the wall is just all just craziness. You know, nothing counters what the documents say, or counters what the official conclusions are. It's crazy. The official conclusion is not David Crowley is guilty, case closed, boom. That's what you want. That's what you want to see. And if it's not, then of course it's going to open up doors to say, okay, well, if it's exceptionally cleared, if the only thing that you have showing that he's guilty, you say David Crowley is guilty because you couldn't find any evidence that anybody else was, that's pretty weak. I mean, that's very weak. And it's just more reason to reopen this case. We've given you a lot of reasons so far. The book is going to give you a lot more as we go on. But from here, it kind of goes backwards. The case for me goes backwards. A lot of this stuff is kind of what I started with. You know, 'cause remember, I got the documents. A lot of those documents that we got, that was all towards the very end too. You know, that a lot of that came later. It didn't come with the 94 pages and the 464 photos. There was a lot of stuff that we got later, and talking with people, and you know, so. This is where it gets down to the nitty-gritty, but I hope you've enjoyed the book so far. I hope it's been somewhat of a help for your research. Everybody should know the documentations, all of the documents, whatever you're looking for. You'll probably find it on my website, thegraystage.wordpress.com. And, you know, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer those questions too. you can send me an email to thegraystage@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to try to answer any questions that I can. Obviously, on the YouTube channels too, unless you're blocked because you're an idiot. You can leave a comment, and I will try to answer that as best as I can. So same with Facebook too, but I don't waste time on idiots. I don't waste time on people that are known liars, that have been proven to be false, or people that are just trying to stir up misinformation, disinformation, whatever it is. I've given them a chance. It's just not worth my time. It's not worth their time. It's not worth any of our time. So at some point, you just got to kind of say, all right, well, I tried. We tried, but yeah, that's about it. Sometimes it just does not work out that way. And that's just life. But again, we live in the greatest country where you are innocent until proven guilty. David Crowley has not been proven guilty, therefore he's innocent. It's as simple as that. It's a very simple truth. So I'll be working on a few other short videos too, similar to the little the Simple Truth one, and murder at 1051 Ramsdale Drive, things like that. I want to do a few more of these short videos. I think it will help a lot of people, and maybe if I ever do, try to move on to some other platforms, maybe I can add some of these shorter videos there. So, not doing Twitter, that's for sure. Twitch, still don't really understand the whole Twitch thing, but TikTok, I've been thinking about that too, but I don't really have time for all of this stuff. But if I do have some short videos, maybe I can just throw them up there. So we'll see. I know William started a TikTok, and I think he's going to start doing some shorter videos. There's another person who contacted me, and I forget what your name is, but I hope you're doing those TikTok videos. I know you planned on doing some videos about David Crowley, and let's hit him hard. Let's hit him hard with the facts, with the truth, and that's it. Let the people decide what they want to believe is true and what they want to believe is not true. So that's all I got today. God bless you all. Join me again on August 1st, 2021, and I'll see you then.